Proposition 173. A multiverse is a statistical probability in excess of 99% likely when we examine the evidence with an open mind and logical framework. The tiny possibility that our relative Big Bang in fact created the entirety of all that exists inside an infinite spacetime, or that in some way time is not eternal or space is not infinite, is all far closer to 0% chance than even a 0.01% chance. Proposition 174. Anyone who doubts eternal time, infinite space, and an infinite number of times that your exact DNA is alive right now inside other pockets of relative spacetime is failing to shed their last shreds of Earth centricity. Shed away and be free to try to fully grasp the natural state of nature. However real a multiverse is, the way it is often portrayed is purely fictional. Proposition 175. When there is any succession of events that is known to occur once, we can be certain that every separate quantum state of those events is playing out right at this very moment an infinite number of times. It also means that every separate quantum state has also played out for all eternity an infinite number of times across an eternally infinite universe. Proposition 176. Not every scenario the mind can imagine must occur just because there are an infinite number of iterations of existence. Physical causality and a chain of possible causalities must both exist for any event to take place. Certain situations can be dreamed up that will never occur anywhere on any big wet rock. Proposition 177. There are no shared dreams or shared memories between doppelgangers. Deja vu is unrelated to the other copies of your DNA out there on other worlds, and your consciousness never leaves you or is ever shared with other copies of you. That is all pure fiction. For some of us, the distance to their next closest doppelganger could be outside our entire visible universe. Proposition 178. Somewhere across all eternally infinite spacetime, there is a maximum age that your DNA will ever reach. Every single moment of your life, from inception up to that oldest maximum age you will ever reach, has been occurring for all eternity and will occur for all eternity somewhere across every moment of eternal time, somewhere out there in infinite space. Proposition 179. With a finite number of habitable big wet rocks to pick from, and a finite number of different combinations of living creatures at any moment in time, occurring across an infinite number of different iterations at this and every moment, our finite number of doppelgangers live out a finite number of different sequences. Again, a huge number, yet still a finite number of different iterations, even taken into account all the different choices made by every ancestor that brought you to this very moment. Proposition 180. We are so distant from the next universe, like ours, that has a planet of any name, where your DNA is hearing or seeing these words, that there will never be and has never been any form of shared memories or dreams. All representations of interactions between other pockets of space-time like ours in media and TV and online is all pure fiction. Proposition 181. The multiverse shown in media is all fiction because no thoughts or people or dreams or objects has ever or will ever move between parallel universes or alternate realities. Although it is technically a non-zero chance that two exact copies or pockets of spacetime could evolve side by side, the chances are close enough to zero that it may not yet have ever happened. And even then, they're going to be too distant from each other for any interactions. Proposition 182. With the potential for quadrillions of habitable planets existing inside our local largest co-moving frame of reference, each of us could have thousands of copies of our DNA, or very close matches, alive at some time during our universe's history. But the odds of any of them having the same sounding name are rare, and the names spelled from the same alphabet, even rarer. Proposition 183. Doppelgangers of each of us abound across infinite space, but very few of them share our same names, languages, siblings, or countries. There can be many different alternate realities, but an infinitesimally tiny percentage of parallel universes. Create a fake gun with the thumb and index finger on the hand of your choice and spin it around randomly until you choose to stop pointing in some direction. If you could follow that line for eternity, not only would it intersect your own DNA, it would do so an infinite number of times. Proposition 184. With potentially hundreds of billions of planets with life just in our own galaxy, and quadrillions of planets with life inside our visible universe, some small percentage of us may have our closest doppelgangers inside our own galaxy, while most of us likely have at least one doppelganger inside our visible universe alive right now. If we take a little leeway in allowing 98 to 99% DNA matches to count, then we may all have hundreds of doppelgangers inside our visible universe alive right now. Proposition 185, there is no block universe. Even if every segment and slice of time has already happened elsewhere and will happen again somewhere else, the block universe idea proposes that all events are happening at the same time. And although that becomes true when we include infinite spacetime, the block universe is meant to imply our future is already decided because our future already happened. It has not. Many different possible futures lie in front of us. Proposition 186. The past is a collection of decisions already made. The future is a collection of decisions yet to be made. Proposition 187. We have the power to craft and mold our future. We can choose apathy, which leads to manipulation and enslavement, or we can choose to be an active part of fixing things for future generations. To see how much we have accomplished as a species and realize how close we are to throwing it all away is worrisome. We must choose peace and equality in all global decisions. We can no longer permit global decisions that are not in the best interest of the globe. Proposition 188. The correct way to interpret Everett's many worlds theory is to grasp that universes cannot auto-spawn without a sequence of physical causality just because a quantum branch took place. It is true that every different quantum outcome may play out, but each branch does not spawn a new universe. That universe shared a sequence of quantum states of relative time point zero up to the point of the branch, and then all the different branch outcomes played out as many worlds many times. Proposition 189. While two worlds share the same relative timeline from T0 to current, they are considered parallel worlds. Parallel worlds are far more common than parallel universes, where many other big wet rocks would also have to see their same sequence of quantum states repeat exactly. Proposition 190. Two parallel worlds or two parallel universes hit a branch if any quantum outcome differs, or a different decision is chosen. That is what creates an alternate reality. Most alternate realities have multitudes of different quantum branches and are far more common than parallel realities. Most alternate realities start from parallel realities, while an entire other class of realities, neither parallel nor alternate, exists. Proposition 191. Some of those realities see a subquantum mass energy density distribution across relative spacetime too low for a fine structure constant to allow atoms to build. Others, where the density is too high and spacetime is too energetic, likewise don't see the same type of stable baryonic matter that we do. Proposition 192. Other realities where big wet rocks can form around fusion reactors and life can grab a foothold share nothing at all with our patch of spacetime, except many animals could have the same DNA on different worlds, while more advanced species might only see a tiny handful of matching doppelgangers, if any. Those pockets of space-time would have their own alternate realities and parallel worlds, but their dissimilarity to our pocket of space-time put them at the very cusp of what might be considered an alternate reality. Proposition 193. To see two entire pockets of space-time like ours evolve where every single quantum state went through the same changes to get an entire universe that ran in parallel for 14 billion years, you would need to skip over Googles of other universes that would share random worlds that evolve very closely in similar galaxies, but any two exact parallel universes needed to see Everett's branching will almost always occur at great distances from each other. Statistic dictates that likelihood if space is infinite and time is eternal. Proposition 194. To think the entire universe could be finite, or that a real first moment in time could have occurred, or even sillier, that our relative Big Bang created the entirety of all there is, all lead to partial explanations for existence that are wrought with paradoxes. Eternal time and infinite space offers the only true, paradox-free explanation for existence. Proposition 195. If space is not infinite, then there can never be a multiverse. However, if space is infinite, then it becomes statistically impossible for a multiverse not to exist. Ergo, since each of our DNA has always been alive somewhere and will always be alive somewhere, then we are each, in one sense, eternal.